Hey everybody, this is Rustin Rose, Metalholic Magazine and Metal Nation Radio, and joining us again tonight, our brother Matt Raffaele of Even the Dead Love a Parade. How have you been?
Dude, good. I'm stoked to be talking to you, like on the eve of our July 4th celebration. I'm sure you've got a lot of fun stuff, activities planned.
Absolutely.
Fireworks, surely.
I got my radio show tonight, so, 4th of July, perfect time to do some metal, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Lots of metal and lots of beer, lots of fireworks, lots of blowing stuff up.
Now, the debut EP finally came out on May 13th. I was looking back. You and I chatted with Stevie, of course, about Even the Dead Love a Parade 3 years ago. What has taken so long to get this thing out?
Well, first off, that just shows you how far ahead of the curve you are. You are already on it. Man, you know what? It's so weird. We toured a little bit and started working on other songs. And, we got a bunch of nibbles that never really, got a record deal per se. And I don't think that deterred anything. But, Drowning Pool wrote another record and did another couple tours. And, Braxton was out touring and Clint was touring. And we kind of regrouped a little bit, I guess you would say. And we re-recorded those tracks and just tweaked them just a little bit. And I think sonically made them sound a lot better. And, we did the vocals with Corey Lowry, who was just a stud. And it got remastered by Tom Baker, who's also just, a legend in the field. And I think that kind of might have made the difference. I don't know. It was maybe timing. But, we wanted a metal label, and we landed with EMP, which is, Dave from Megadeth. And, it's been awesome ever since. Probably all things happen for a reason.
Absolutely.
So that was probably the
Well, as you said, I've had the music in my hands for 3+ years now, but I've got the new finalized EP, if you will, and it just sounds fantastic, aggressive, ballsy. So I'm excited that it's finally out. The first thing I noticed, the cover art on it, bit ballsy, especially for a Dallas-based band there. Who came up with that idea?
You know what? I found that somewhere, and I loved it. I thought it was poignant. I thought it was ballsy. I definitely represents where we're from. I think, and for me, I'm a murder buff and a, true crime kind of guy. So is Jordan. So I've been interested in that particular, in the Kennedy assassination since I was a kid. So I saw that and I was just like, yeah, let's do that. So then we kind of morphed it, obviously, made it our own, and there you go. But it's pretty rad.
And there's, of course, that, tongue-in-cheek twisted background part to it where the band's name is Even the Dead Love a Parade, and Kennedy was shot in Dallas during a parade.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, what's funny is that I thought about that, afterwards, but you're, probably only the second or third person to, bring that part of it up, but I always think that the same way, too. It's also one of the, it's got to be the most talked about snuff film ever, because that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Think about, there's a Fruiter film. I've only had one person really come up to me and was offended by it. And I'm like, well, have you ever seen the Zapruder film? And they're like, oh, of course. I'm like, well, it's a piece of history. It's we live in Dallas. We drive. I'm right now, as we speak, I'm 10 minutes from Dealey Plaza. I go by it every day. So that's something that I I have obviously, I think about it a lot. And it's pretty crazy, especially now when our world is so much different, man. It is so insane right now. People are, the whole Orlando, both incidents in Orlando, and we live in a far different world. But the reality is that government and the whole conspiracy, that totally exists. It's just crazy world we live in.
Well, and it's interesting that you mentioned the historical aspect of it, because if you think about it, history is written by those people that are in power, and even though there's not a living person I know that believes Lee Harvey Oswald killed Kennedy, that's what still shows up in our history books. And 100 years from now, who is ever going to know different when they look back and go, oh, this guy killed Kennedy, when everybody knows that's not what happened, but we've never changed the history books.
No. And, we're kind of like one of those, like, it's so weird, like our government, where they, like, or whoever, whatever part of the government decide, like, almost like they decide what history is going to be, which is crazy to me. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we are super lucky to live, for us in the States. Like we're really, we have a lot of luxuries. And I feel like this is one of those things that, like, you pay. This is like swallowing something like that, or having to swallow that. That's one of those things that you do, to kind of afford the luxuries you do have. As crappy as that is to say, it's reality. People know what happened. Those who tend to just turn the blind eye and follow the sheepish path, at the end of the day, somewhere in their back of their brain, they know.
Yeah, the scary thing, though, is to think that our kids, grandkids, and generations after that will be so far removed from having experienced it aren't going to know, because they weren't part of understanding all of that. They're only going to go back and see what they've read. It makes you wonder how much of history that we grew up learning that we still believe to be true is completely inaccurate or even false.
Yeah, 100%. That's a sobering truth, right there. Like, you're like, wow, like what lies have we been sold? You know what I mean? And like you said, like, you go back far enough where there probably wasn't as documented as it is now, or maybe even like 20 years ago. It's pretty crazy. But I will say this: you can't get away with anything now. There's a camera everywhere. If the government is still doing it now, I mean, they must be really doing it really well, because, back in those days, like it was Kennedy or like Lincoln, like Kennedy was the first, that was like one of the first like home, the camera that the Fruiter was using, like that was like a crank making on film. That wasn't like everybody now with an iPhone or like if something happens, you can be damn sure it's on videotape somewhere. Someone's got it. Like everyone's a photographer now, or TMZ or whatever. So it's a lot more difficult now, I'm sure, for governments to control things than it probably was some time ago. But it's pretty crazy. Like the technology has just made our world, it's such a fishbowl. You know what I mean? Crazy.
Right, but I think our government's gotten really good at learning how to cover these things up and creating these things. And at the risk of the Treasury Department and Secret Service showing up on my doorstep, if we see a Trump or a Clinton in the White House, we're looking at perhaps the next assassinated president. We're looking at
Oh, yeah, for sure. He was here in Dallas the other day, and I was like, man, for sure someone's going to try something. Like, it's Texas. There's too many guns, too many, people that don't dig what he's spitting down. It's a mess.
And the sad thing is, I don't know that Clinton's any bad. I've been trying to tell everybody, vote Johnson and Weld. Libertarian. There's never been a better time to get rid of the two-party system and get a third party in there. But nobody can think past their favorite team. I'm an R, I'm a D. But
right. It's funny that you say that. I had my friend posted something on my Facebook about if I was unsure about who to politically, I should vote for Mayor Goldie Wilson. And it was the dude from Back to the Future. And I'm still laughing because it was one of the, I'm like, you're right. Mayor Goldie Wilson. I like the sound of that.
So let's get back to the music, though, before we get too far off track, because I could talk about this stuff all day. Since there's only 5 tracks on the EP, and when we chatted last time with Stevie, we didn't go through them. Maybe we can quickly go through each of the 5 tracks and get a little backstory on these. You good with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, Cancer and Host opens it up.
Cancer and Host. First, I want to say that was one of the first songs that the band wrote, Braxton and Clint put together for Even the Dead Love to Pray. It definitely was the first track I ever heard as I was invited into the group. So I enjoy that song a lot. It's actually usually the last song we play in our set, or it has been. And that is on that particular track, there are backing vocals by Jason Moreno from Grounded Gold.
Nice. So
yeah.
Humane is the second track?
Humane is without a doubt best live song to me personally. I feel like that song is super heavy. It's mean and evil. The kind of audio bed you hear in the beginning is like a legit serial killer. Jordan found that audio somewhere, and it's him kind of just he literally has recorded his sessions with these, people that he's killed. So there's actual, that is terror. And, he's just so out there. And, we have that, in the mix live. And for whatever reason, that one is definitely like the crowd really reacts to that track. So I love that song.
Absolutely. Morphine Queen.
Morphine Queen, one of the first couple tracks that they wrote for the initial incantation of this band. Truth be told, there are some guest vocals on that song as well, although we don't really tout them due to some legal things that are still trying to get worked out. But I can't confirm or deny that there are backing vocals by Heidi from Butcher Babies on that track, and I love that song. And I actually have that song. That was one of the songs we used to, I think that was like the second song we would send to people to get vocals on. So I have that song with 4 or 5 different vocals on it from different guys singing completely different things, which is kind of neat. They're all different kinds of singers. So when we first started trying out vocalists, there was even a female on there she was great, but it was definitely just a little different for us. But there's guys that were screamers, guys that weren't as much screamers with more singing, and so it's kind of all over the place, which is kind of cool. So I sometimes go back and listen just to the kicks. But the final version that you hear now on the EP is definitely Jordan at its finest, and we have some help from Heidi. Came on the bus one night and threw down some vocals, so that's kind of a well-known secret, kind of, sort of, I guess, but it's pretty cool. She's on the chorus, and she's rad, so we love her.
That's pretty sweet. Now, one of the tracks that I didn't get to hear before, it's new on here, is the Sex Tapes and Snuff Films.
Yes. We were we have a batch of, we've been writing songs, so we have a batch of songs that are going to go on to the full length for 2017, so we felt like, we had released those 4 songs that are out there. We're like, man, let's throw one more track on this EP, so there's something new. And that song, to me, honestly, is my favorite. Because I'm a little bit more close to that one. I wrote a couple majority of the riffs for that. But Jordan did all the lyrics. Stevie obviously did all his stuff, and Braxton took my ideas, and him and Clint just molded it into what it is today. And we have a video in the can for that one too, which is pretty rad and goes with our motif of murder and all that implies. So it's pretty cool, and I love that song. I think it goes over good live. So we've played it, I think, twice, and so it sat pretty good in the set. So I'm excited about that one.
I'm fascinated with serial killers and stuff. I'm actually doing my master's degree right now in criminal justice, and I'm in my forensics class. And I discovered, it's like,
really?
If I were ever to start a band, I think the name of the band would have to be Hellcrafts, which is actually that's actually the name of the first woman who was ever killed with a wood chipper. That was the wood chipper crime where they okay, so that happened in Newtown, Connecticut. Yeah.
Okay, so you ready for this? I'm gonna go ahead and connect the dots here for you. Ready? I was born and raised in Newtown, Connecticut. I was born in Old Greenwich, but that was where my grandparents lived, and we lived in Newtown, Connecticut, where that happened. That happened up 2 miles from my house, the bridge that he chipped her off. He actually didn't chip her off the bridge. He ended up going down to the bank to chip her. But I lived in Newtown, and the school that I went to as a kid, grade school, was Sandy Hook. Yeah. So I went, that was the school I went to as a youngster for, I don't know, until second or grade or third grade or something like that. But yeah, that's all in Newtown, Connecticut. There you go.
And I think her name is a perfect band name. Just dark.
Oh, killer, yeah. Awesome.
So, all right, so last track on the EP was the first one everybody pretty much got to hear. You guys did a video for it, Heart Poacher.
Yeah, and that one, honestly, we changed a little bit of if you have both incantations of it, which I know you do, we changed the chorus just slightly. In the harmonies a little bit, and there's a part at the end that got added, a little different at the very end. There's this couple lines that Corey Lowry, the guy we worked with, he had some ideas, and that was one of them. And I think we put a stop in it or something like that. And so it's definitely an upgraded version for sure. It's the one that we released as a single, first off the EP, a couple of years later. But it's actually reacting at radio, which is pretty cool. I think last week we were at 38, and now we're at 12 on like CMJ, which is pretty cool. You know what I mean? And we're not really, we got our team that's working it, and and we're just stoked that it's come out of the box the way it has. It's awesome, and this song is pretty. I would say a really good representation of the band.
All right, so you said we'll segue into this because you brought it up, mentioned it. You guys have been writing songs for the last 2 or 3 years on top of the ones that are on the EP. You mentioned perhaps the full length next year. I was going to ask you about that. So what can you tell us at this point?
We're shooting to get it February or March 2017. We definitely have been writing songs. I think that not that we were leery of releasing the EP because it was updated, like I talked about. But we woke up the next day and it was a 20 something on the iTunes charts for metal, which is insane. We're just like, really? So now I think we're really like going back to all these songs because we see we have a viable product and we want to, the bars that we've raised the bar for us, like bar is high. So we're going back through with a fine-tooth comb on all these tracks. We're still rubbing the lamp. We're still writing. We know that we want to deliver the absolute best full length that we can. Because you really, we've got the taste out there, but we want to come in swinging. We want to come in hot with our first full length. So, while we have a bunch of songs, like we can't have enough songs. We want to put the best like 12 or 13 tracks on that thing that we can because we want the fans to, get the bang for their buck for sure.
And you mention it because some of the songs have already evolved just since you initially did the ones that are on the EP. How much do you think your sound has evolved since those early writing sessions?
Oh, dude, like we are such a heavier band than their first record. Like, I think what we've done is like found like what we're really all good at. You know what I mean? Like we know where Jordan's wheelhouse is. Like we know where Clint's wheelhouse is. Like we actually, when we toured, was the only times we really play together because we're all in, doing separate things outside of writing via the internet, because that's how a lot of our stuff is done.
Right.
With me and Braxton and Stevie are the only ones that are actually in the same zip code right now. Clint is in Austin and he's touring, and Jordan's in South Carolina. So we all have a weird style of writing, but I feel like we definitely figured each other out as a band and where our sound was going. So this next batch of tracks, I think, is going to, they're heavy. They're really heavy, and it's awesome. And Jordan's we know, he's a powerhouse, man. He can scream like a madman, and he's got multiple screams. And I've gotten into the vocal mix myself, and Braxton and Clint are really the shapers of songs. They really are really good at that. And lyrically wise, Jordan's the lyrical boogeyman. Like, he's on it. So we all know our part, our cog in the machine. And I think with the success of the EP, I think we're like, okay, we really everybody needs to step their game up, because we don't want to drop off. You know what I mean? We want to go up next level. And I think we have to have an awesome product. It can't be half-assed. So that's kind of where we're all at right now. So we're all tightening down on everything. And we're not really in a rush to put out the record, because we just put this out and it's doing well.
Right.
We've got a couple of offers to go tour. And while we want to do that, we also want to be smart about it. And, we're going to go try to play some bigger shows touring-wise, but we're better served to, try and get some time together, you know what I mean, in a room and work out a few more newer tracks, because that's really what we're going to do. I mean, we're going to have some stuff that people are going to be like, wow, they're still that band that has a little bit of everything, but they found their sound. And I think that's what people are going to see when they hear our new stuff.
You mentioned live dates. Do you guys actually have anything set up at this point?
Yeah, we actually we just changed agents. So, he's already busy working that. And, obviously we've had reaction to radio and we've got ads and, people playing us in different states and whatnot. So that's all lending itself to heading us in that direction. We're just, the record is one of the things that's high on the priority list right now. Stevie's got an Australian tour coming up with DP. So we try to work sideways with those things. But we do have a couple offers on the table to do some pretty good tours, and we'll probably get a couple weeks here and a couple weeks there with some different things and a couple bigger festival dates that we're working on. So as soon as those are confirmed, I will definitely keep you posted so you can let everybody know. And hopefully we'll be coming to, your neck of the woods.
Awesome, Matt. It's good to talk with you again. I look forward to seeing you when you're in town.
Dude, thanks so much for having us out. So cool, man. You're the best. I always love talking to you. Good people. And I definitely will keep you posted. When we get in your neck of the woods, man, I'll blow you up and we'll hang out and grab dinner or something.
Well, we'll sit down and talk serial killers.
Dude, we will. And you know what? There's a new Zodiac movie coming out.
Nice. That
Jason Hook is in from Five Finger.
Oh, and I'm from the Bay Area. I was living there during that whole Zodiac thing. So that's my
Did you? Oh,
story.
Man, really?
Absolutely.
Oh, kill it. We'll have to compare notes on that one. But we'll definitely talk soon, bro. I'll be in touch.